On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Downfall of any society, it's always going to come with the empowerment of women. And that's why I rule with a strong hand. And listen, I see women and I see people all the time. They be in the chat and they be like, Rita must be down and out. Rita is sitting right here, humbled, submissive, and on the program. And I rule with a strong hand because I refuse in any way, shape, or form to submit to or succumb to the will of a woman. I am the lead. And if you want to see what the downfall of any society is, if you want to see what the weak family looks like, if you want to see what a broken family looks like, it comes from a matriarchy. It comes from women having a say-so in the final word and what goes on in that household, whether it's through the man or not. And this is what we're going to see in society, and it's going to continue to play out because as long as we have weak men continuing to submit to these weak women, then you're going to have a weak society. And your daughter and your son going to be a bitch. And that's really what's going to come down to.
I never said it was their fault. I did say that. I always say any type of deception, any type of lies, that's not right. But when we were saying like y'all were making excuses for the person, like all of the blame is on them and you take no accountability for that situation. Because if it was a regular woman, right? You telling me you wouldn't have you wouldn't vet your partner? I thought this was the channel that was the king of vetting people, and you're telling me you haven't had conversations about childhood. You haven't, like, come on.
Why would you need to said you're making excuses for the person? Why would you need to make excuses for the person that didn't do anything wrong?
No, what I'm saying is that you have to look introspectively and say, what's wrong with me? That I've been with this person for 2 years and I had no idea they were born a man. That's all I said. I didn't take any blame off the other person for deceiving them.
Close so we get back on track.
Look inside yourself and try to figure out how is it 2 years went by and you didn't have a clue. That's all 2 years.
We got to land the plane on it, y'all.
We never said 2 years. We said, for example, and let me finish. For example, if I was a man and I went on a date, because I said if my brother went on a date with a shim or chick or whatever they want, shim, whatever they want to go by, and that person doesn't say, "Oh, I'm trans," you should say, "No, it's the man's fault," because they should vet. We're not talking about 2 years, right? We're talking about if they go on a date or if a man's hitting on someone in the club, you're blaming the man for flirting because he should have asked or vetted properly. Like that doesn't make sense.
We're talking about last week, and that was the situation you brought up last week. That was the topic. We watched a clip. That was the context of that situation. So you actually brought it up, and I'm speaking to the full context of what we spoke about last week. Okay. I'm not just speaking to that one point. So it's not like I'm making this up. I'm not making this up. That was the context of the situation we were analyzing last week. So that's why I'm speaking on it. You brought it up.
2 years.
But that's
all right, y'all. Let's get back on the break.
Sorry.
Let's go ahead and continue talking about this Virgin Atlantic. Let's get a couple more people and then we'll move on. Anybody else want to speak on it?
I want to speak on it. I was waiting on Anton so I can say I agree, but I guess he ain't gonna say shit today. But I don't know how y'all missed this. So it's big picture. And it's big picture because if you talk to them, they say how they neither man or female. They said they're homosexual.
Non-binary? Is that it?
What?
Non-binary. I think that's
non-binary, right? Mm-hmm. So why should they try to fit in any type of uniform? If they non-binary or whatever the fuck they call it, because they got now it's up to 200 different sexual preferences now that they can fit in the category of. 4 years ago it was just 63. Now it went up to 200. Shout out to Cheeky. But if you say you're not a woman, then why you want to dress like a woman? If you say you're not a man, then why you want to dress like a man? Why don't you just wear a motherfucking spacesuit? Because this is where it gets to that now they just want attention and they're exposing themselves for seeking attention. A 7 foot, I think Chaotic brought it up, a 7 foot dude come to you in an airplane with a dress. What is he seeking? He's seeking attention. All this is for attention. And then if we continue to give it to the motherfuckers, just like YouTube, that shit addictive. These these niggas gonna go crazy. They gonna wear heels. They gonna go crazy. They just gonna do more and more shit. It's a big picture. All day. Let them expose the fuck out of themselves. And we just need to be here and clean it out and call them out.
So when you say don't give them no attention, do you mean that we shouldn't like buy any flights that's connected to Virgin Atlantic?
Fuck Virgin Atlantic. Now, I never fuck with it in the first place.
I'm saying, is that what you mean by don't give it attention?
We should boycott, just like Martin Luther King said. You know what I'm saying, how did he get the white people to act right? To let them get in the front of the bus. He boycotted their ass. Let's boycott Virgin Airlines. And I guarantee you this, it won't be effective because all our black women are gonna be on that bitch.
Facts.
Supporting it. Young Miami and they little boy toy, all up gonna be on that bitch.
Did you say the same thing for hip hop? It's killing black people. Should we boycott that too?
What?
I don't think that's what Anton was going to say, honestly.
The thing about it is that if you want to conquer a family, if you want to conquer a man, if you want to conquer a society, the first thing that you have to do is conquer their women. And if you look at any family, right, even where the man stands strong, or you look at a child, right, in most instances, what will happen is if the child wants something, they'll go to their mother first. If the child wants to do what they want to do because they know that the father is strong, that they'll go to the mother. Even if they know that the mother still got to go through the father, they'll go through the mother in order to have the mother try to talk to the dad in order to make sure that they can get what they want out of that situation. And this is exactly what's happening in society. And what happens is, because we have so many weak men, because listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I expect for most women to be weak. I expect for most women not to take a position. I expect for when you talk to a family and then you have a conversation about whether or not they accept this person that's swinging the other way in the family, the mother is going to say, well, but I love them, because women are weak and they're naturally nurturing, which is just the way that they made. And listen, you can go all the way back to the foundation of the Bible. The way that the serpent conquered got him kicked out is he didn't go through the man. He went through the woman. He literally, if you look at every single fallen kingdom, every last one of them, you can look at the movies, you can read the books. All you have to do is look at how they got to them, and they got to them through the woman. If you want to look at the fall of the black family, all you got to do is look at the black woman. Feminism. If you want to look at the fall of America, it all happens through the woman. And so the only thing that the man has is to be able to have a strong hand and get that hoe in order. But most men are simps, which is why it's so easy to conquer him through your woman. And so when you look at this happen, and even when you have a lot of these conversations, the woman is more often than not going to be the one that don't take a position. They're going to be kumbaya. They're going to go and teach it. They're going to go and do all these things, and then they're going to talk their man into doing it. And so when you see this happen and you see this play out, most women have gay men as their friends. Yep. Men don't sit there and walk around and hang out with gay men on a general basis. It's the women that enable it. It's the women that love it. It's the women that advocate for it. It's the women that don't stand up for it. And it's the women that support it. And so when you see the downfall of any society, it's always going to come with the empowerment of women. And that's why I rule with a strong hand. And listen, I see women and I see people all the time. They be in the chat and they be like, Rita must be down and out. Rita is sitting right here, humbled, submissive, and on the program. And I rule with a strong hand because I refuse in any way, shape, or form to submit to or succumb to the will of a woman. I am the lead. And if you want to see what the downfall of any society is, if you want to see what the weak family looks like, if you want to see what a broken family looks like, it comes from a matriarchy. It comes from women having a say-so in the final word and what goes on in that household, whether it's through the man or not. And this is what we're going to see in society, and it's going to continue to play out, because as long as we have weak men continuing to submit to these weak women, then you're going to have a weak society. And your daughter and your son going to be a bitch. And that's really what's going to come down to.